Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph, and welcome to Career Conversations with Baba. Today, we are going to walk you through his career journey, and it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of inspiration that you can actually glean on and apply to your career journey as well. So, Baba, are you ready to take on this conversation?
Thank you, Joe.
All right. So I'm going to maybe start by asking you, maybe you can take us through your journey from Nigeria. I know that you started from Nigeria, you went to UK, you were in France, you were in all these other places, you were in Canada, and then you went back to Nigeria. But today, I would like us to actually focus on your journey from Nigeria to UK. So maybe you can start by explaining to the audience what your career journey looked like. From, I would say, I think it will actually be good if you start from your high school or your secondary school, um, uh, I guess, education to how you ended up in the UK.
Thank you. My name is Fidel.
Yes, we know.
I started from humble backgrounds. I went to primary school like every other child. Then I decided to go to a technical school. At that time, there were few technicians in the country, in Nigeria. So my father agreed to let me go there. One interesting thing was there was an examination, and the condition was you should have passed or obtained what we call primary standard 6 certificate before you register for the examination. I didn't have the certificate actually, but because I hadn't taken the exam. So my headmaster wrote a letter and said, Fidel will take this exam and we are confident he will pass. So I took the exam.
Wow.
Something remarkable happened. I was weak in mathematics, elementary maths. Truly, a week before the exam, I had a dream. And all the examination questions in the maths
Wow.
appeared. 7 questions. I prepared those 7 questions I saw in the dream. I did 6 and I passed.
Wow.
So I got to interview. They took me. I went to the place for the school to be absorbed in the technical school. I was 4'9".
Hmm.
I was very small. So the course was auto mechanics. So the welfare officer said I was too small to do auto mechanics. He would put me in the electrical class. I said no, I would do electrical. I would do auto mechanics. He said, okay. They devised special meal for me.
Wow.
I ate a lot so I could grow. We stayed 3 years in the school. At the end of it, the officers came, no interview, no application. They just divided us into different companies. You go here, you go here, you go here. So I went to the Ministry of Works, the government department. We were 2. They gave us the best technical training you can get to cover all aspects of the road transport. From engine overhauling, brakes, transmission, welding, everything was done. And at the end of it, we took exam called the trade test, which is artisan grade level of the high class. We were 2, I passed. The other guy failed. But during this period of training, I was reading in England an external exam called City and Girls. Imagine, at the age of 19, I passed this exam, coupled with my trade test, which I got at Design Grade 1, and my technical school education. At 19, I was made Assistant Inspector of Works
Wow.
on a very
That is
high salary.
no, that is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, before you continue, though, one of the things that seems to be very consistent is food. So the last episode, you talked about how they give you food because of how you saved the company a lot of money,
Yes.
and then in this case, they gave you food so that you could get bigger. Wow.
That was the case.
now, now
I
I,
ate.
I need a place that will actually give me free food. I don't know where to find that kind of
You know,
job.
I was so small that my classmates would put their jaw over my head,
Wow.
knelt down and rub it like this and say, "Small boy, you will not grow up again."
Wow.
So when we finished, my father said to me, "My son, I don't want to lose you in a motor accident. Go overseas, go to England, go and study." So I went, I did my A levels there and all whatnot. But before this course could end, there was war in Nigeria. My father was sending me a lot of money at that time because he was a businessman, a civil engineering contractor. But when the war started, he could no longer send money to me.
Mm.
So I could not continue going to the university. You know, I went back to the technical college in Newcastle. Then I said, okay, I did transport automobile before, auto mechanics. Let me continue that particular profession. So I went, I studied. Eventually, I qualified in road transport.
Mm.
So I got registered as a road transport engineers, motor industry, all these certificates I got. Then I said to myself, in England, nobody would employ me as a transport manager. Therefore, the course I was doing was not going to be appropriate
Mm.
if I were to stay in England for a longer period of time. So the question I want you to understand is this. When you read your career, anticipate what could come in future,
Mm-hmm.
and take appropriate action to
Action.
correct it.
Absolutely.
That's what I did.
Absolutely.
So I continued. I went to work with Newcastle Corporation. It's a public transport, like any other public transport. They had about 500 buses. The point is this: be convinced that what you want to do is what you can do,
Mm-hmm.
not what people told you to do or what you think others are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, during this period of transition, life was very difficult for me. I had no help. I had no money. I had nothing. I had only one hope. I want to succeed.
And you persevered.
I persevered.
Yeah.
Thank you. So with this, I got into this corporation transport. Then I spent about before I got in, they had to test me. I told the chief executive, would you please interview me as one of the skilled technicians in your department? He said, what? I said, yes. He said, do you know what you're talking about? Can you do what those technicians can do?
Mm.
Can you overhaul this big diesel engine?
Mm.
I said, try me. He said, okay, I'm going to try you. That is, if you pass it, then I give you this grade. So I said, okay. He said, While you're going to service and overhaul this huge diesel engine, I will give you a man who will carry things for you. He's a very strong man, but no intelligence. So he wouldn't tell you anything.
Wow.
I
So
said, okay.
basically, you're on your own.
I was on my own. So he said, I said, yes. Took me almost 2.5 to 3 days. But during this time I was doing this practical training, remember, I went to a technical school before. I went to training in Nigeria to do my artistry thing. It's 5 years I did this type of technical work. I overhauled this engine, stripped it, did it, tested it on the bed, pap, it fired.
Wow.
He gave me the job. As I stayed there for about three months, there was an advertisement that came up. This is now my beginning of my journey in industrial engineering. So this advertisement came out. They wanted, at that time, they called it work study officers. So I applied. When I applied, I went for interview. We were 22. They wanted 11. So I went for interview. He said, the officer said to me, you want to be a work study officer? I said, yes. He said, do you know that this work you want to do, you will be between management and union? You are a black person. Do you think they will accept your recommendations? Don't you think you cause problems? So I said to him, a sound, valid, effective recommendation has no color.
Wow.
They will accept it if it is correct.
Yep.
Then I looked at him in the face and I said to him, as I'm talking to you now, if you offended me, I wouldn't say the whole of English people offended me. I called this man. I said, you in particular, you offended me and don't do it again. He looked at me with surprise. He took a large cigar like this. He tapped it on the table. He turned back his chair. He faced the wall. He turned again after about 2 minutes. So nobody has spoken to him like this. I will give you a chance, but I'll keep my eyes on you. So he gave me a chance. And he said, but I'll keep you in the department and section where people knew you already. But I keep my eye on you. Thank you, sir. I left. So I started. Now my journey has started. What happened then was, they told us that to do industrial engineering, you must know the logic and the techniques because it's both integrated. And the only way you can do it was you have to attend the Polytechnic for 2 times a week, 2 days a week, 12 hours each time, which is 24 hours equivalent to full time. And then that's the condition. I said I wanted to, but then I said, I can't afford to lose 2 days of my pay. Would you please pay me my full pay? They said no. The only condition they can pay me my full pay was I have to recover the 16 hours I've lost in the week, which meant working from 7:30 in the morning till 9 at night.
Wow.
And working on Saturdays from 7:30 to 4:30.
Wow.
And each night, the manager would give me work to do everything, and then in the morning he would check to make sure that I did them. None of these 11 people that were accepted this condition. I said I wanted to do it. I took it. So we continued. As we studied and studied, it came to the time we were to do examination. life was difficult. Remember, I didn't have a car. I didn't know anybody. I was alone. I didn't have money, but I was determined. And my policy was I didn't come to England to waste my time.
Mhm.
I must succeed.
Absolutely.
So you know what happened? It my classmates, because I used to go to school, we had to go to college also for another two days during the week, So in fact, it was very intensive because we were doing about 14 subjects. My classmates said, Fidel, this this course you're doing, don't you think you're wasting your time?
Mm.
In Africa, this profession will not be used in the next 25 years.
Wow.
Why are you doing it? Wasting your time. Is that encouraging?
Oh, talk
Would
about
you listen to them?
discouragement.
Yes, indeed, they discouraged me. I said I would. So the exam period came. I prayed. You know what happened? We took the exam. Then they informed us that the result was out. When I went, I didn't know what happened, whether I passed or failed. But I saw all the lecturers and the principal lecturer was in front. All were clapping when they saw me.
Wow.
They say, Fidel, you've made us proud.
Wow.
You put us on the map. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you passed. Passed what? They said, you passed. Look, you made us proud. Don't you know, when you were passing, don't you know we were clapping for you? I said, what were you clapping for?
Mm.
We are proud of you. Would you please go to my office and wait for me?
Wow.
So I went to his office. I waited. He came back. He said, oh, we are very proud of you. You know what? You were the only person that passed in the whole institution.
Wow.
And the whole of northeast of England, our own polytechnic was one of two that had complete pass.
Wow.
You are going to be a lecturer.
Mm.
I said, me? He said, yes. I said, I don't want to be a lecturer.
Wow.
So what are you talking about? To be a lecturer, prestigious job,
Mm-hmm.
high income. Okay, look, take this form, fill it, bring it back the following week, 3 o'clock. He would be there for the selection.
Mm.
I have nothing to do because this was my interview. All I had to do was select which college I was going to go to.
Mm.
I took the form. I got home. I shredded it.
Not
And
for you.
I didn't go.
Not for you.
Yes, I don't want to be a lecturer. Then I saw some of those my classmates. Two of them, I said, how did you do? Those who said I wouldn't pass, they didn't say anything. The answer is this. When somebody challenges you,
Mm-hmm.
don't just answer if there's no need to answer, because time is required to answer some issues. So now they couldn't say anything. So when I passed this exam, I got another job in another place. This company was huge, employed about 3,500 people, had 6 factories in a very large ground, and we were 6 officers and 3 technicians. Our job was to make the synthesis, calculate manpower output, negotiate for unions, incentive payment systems. We did all that.
Mm.
Then, as we were working, some of my classmates, because I was the most qualified,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't cope with all the variations. So the factory or plant manager, he went and met the director of engineering, whom I work under. He said, he's not a doctor, somebody. He said, Fidel is the only person I would want him to go to where there was trouble anywhere in the locations.
Mm.
He didn't want any of the other boys to go because they don't know what they were doing.
So let me ask you a question then. I guess what I'm noticing or observing through the story really right now is that you have been able to apply your knowledge to the work that is required.
Yes.
Would that would that actually mean that based on the training that you had from Nigeria, because it was more hands-on, is that why you were able to apply the knowledge and actually apply the skills in the real life situation?
Thank you, Joe. That is correct. The training I had in Nigeria, technical training, and some guys, when you say technical training, they don't seem to value it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, thank you, Joe, for asking this question. Some of my Nigerian colleagues, at that time, if you were not doing medicine, civil or mechanical or lawyer or accountant, you are nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So they made some fun of me doing technical work.
Yeah.
But then one day I went to a meeting. I said to them, you guys are funny. You are doing some courses you can't do. But look, I'm qualified.
Mm-hmm.
If I will return to Nigeria, I will have a senior position. But you don't even know whether you pass what you're doing or not.
Mm.
Why are you so arrogant? That was my statement to them.
Yeah.
They couldn't say anything. However, the training I got in Nigeria prepared me. Remember, it was my technical skill that made me go into this company that employed me to start my industrial engineering work studies.
Correct.
Remember, if I hadn't done it, how would I have been able to get a position? And this course we did, industrial engineering, the policy is unless you are employed in it,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot be admitted to go to study it.
Correct.
You must work and practice.
Correct.
So there's something called work and study,
Mm-hmm.
which means apply the technical skills, also gain the theoretical knowledge. By the time of 4 years, I've gained all the experience I needed. I became a senior industrial engineer in England. So this company that I was working for, one of the last companies, I told them to pay for my postgraduate. They said no, they don't do it. If it was beginning, they could, but postgraduate, they don't do it unless I did a project for them. I said, give me a project. Never refuse challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me a project. I designed the whole system. This project for them became the project for my postgraduate exam. I went for my postgraduate exam. I passed it. And the letter they wrote was, Fidel, you are a pride to the profession.
Wow.
I have that. All this I'm telling you were true, documented. But by this time, I have now gotten my qualifications into American Institute of Industrial Engineers, European Institute of Industrial Engineers, Institute of Management Services, and like I got a certification to practice industrial engineering anywhere in Europe.
Mm.
I was qualified and ready. But qualification alone is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You must know what you are doing practically
Absolutely.
to achieve results.
Absolutely.
Remember, the plant manager that said he only wanted Fidel to come to analyze where there was problem, it's not because I'm a black person. It's not because I'm the most handsome. No, it's because they needed my skill.
Absolutely.
So if you have skill, let people know about it. Use it for productive results. However, when I finished my postgraduate, this is now going to lead me into Canada. I will stop at when I arrived in Canada, and then next time I will tell you what happened from Canada to Nigeria. You know, the company I was working for, I had worked in several different companies because the lecturers told us that to be a good industrial engineer, you have to have variety of experiences and backgrounds.
Correct.
I bought it. So within 6 years, I gained the industrial experience. I worked in 4 places, covering different aspects. So when I was contemplating on what to do next, advertisements came up. There was an advertisement for a big aluminum company in Canada.
Was it on the internet?
Daily Telegraph. There was no internet.
I know. I just had to ask.
It was a newspaper, you know. So I read it, I applied. You know, I went to Canada for the first time in 1974. I spent 1 week doing the interview. I didn't take the job because my mind said to me I didn't take the job because I didn't like certain chemical reactions going on. Another advertisement came, but I applied. Now, I had a friend in UK. He was doing one of these courses. He was one of those people who exaggerated his position. He used to phone me from London to the place I was 3 or 4 times a day by phone. And at that time, telephone wasn't easy to have.
Correct.
This guy would phone me 3 or 4 times. Then I said to him, what do you do? What were you doing to be able to be phoning me this many times? He said to me, he was a controller in the bank. I said, wow, that's a fantastic job. But each time I went to London for interview, I stayed in his house. 4 interviews I went to London for. And I stayed in his house. Then he said to me, brother, what did you do? Each time you got a job, you come for interview. He's looking for a job. He couldn't get any. What did I do? I said, why are you asking what I was doing? You already have a very good job. You are a controller in the bank. What are you looking for? He said, listen, he's been a controller in the bank, was checking expired checks. And he had 2 girls working with him. So he was the controller. It was amazing. So I say, you see, the lesson for this is this. Do not exaggerate your position. Otherwise, you will do overtime to cover it up. Anyway, these advertisements came up. The second job in Canada, I applied. It took them 6 to 7 weeks to reply. I forgot about it. And then they called us for interview, 15. We were 15. They apologized for the long delay. They said they thought the whole of England were going away because so many people, 267 people applied for this job.
Wow. From England?
From England.
Wow.
He said, were you people vacating? I went for my interview. I passed. They selected us. It was an all expenses paid employment. Then, when I arrived, now I'm arriving in Canada, the joke was, engineering director, you went to England to employ people. You didn't see Brown. You didn't see Clark. You didn't see White. You saw Aldo, Italian, Njoko, Nigerian, Yuck, Japanese. Yuck. That was the joke. Anyway, this will be another subject because now it's going to be based on diversity. I will meet you next time and I will continue this expression.
Wow, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your life journey from Nigeria to England. And we got a small taste of what Canada might look like.
Yes.
And yes, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
And
Joe.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Well, you have heard my professional journey so far. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope, very importantly, you have something to learn from some of my experiences. There's actually more to be told. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe.